Welcome to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast.
The show where nurses become powerful, profitable nurse coaches.
I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura, and we are the co-founders of Nurse Life Coach Academy.
We have helped train some of the best nurse coaches in the entire country.
And we help them build real businesses with a real income, not just cute titles.
So if you're tired of guessing,
tired of doing this alone, you are in the right place.
Let's grow your confidence and your skill.
And let's grow your practice.
Let's get to work. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. It is Shelby and Laura here today, and we are going to be taking a deep dive on the experience of what it means to be a professional nurse coach and kind of walk you through what it means to build confidence and to have capacity to do something new and innovative and wonderful. And I know, Laura, you weren't on my holistic goal setting workshop, but at the end of my goal setting workshop, I took a grandstand for the vision and the community. And I was like, hey, this nurse coaching only becomes a thing if we become a community who can move, who can not just dream big, but can also take action. And this is a collaborative group project. You are counting on me and I am counting on you. So you have to learn how to move. And this is maybe a spinoff of like going deeper on that topic of what it really means to move as a professional nurse coach.
Yeah.
Because I think any route you take here, you are a pioneer. If you bring this back into the hospital, you're a pioneer. If you go work for John Deere, which is a real nurse coach that I've met before, who did the wellness for John Deere, the tractor company, whether you start your own private practice, like you just are a pioneer in your own right. And you have to get more comfortable with the unknown and more comfortable with taking action before you are fully confident. And that's what I'm hoping to break down today for everybody.
Yeah, that's great opening. I think lately we've been really using the term professional nurse coach more often. And immediately I'm like, oh, a professional nurse coach, blazer, and everything's figured out. And I don't feel like that.
No. You and I are recording a podcast right now in sweatshirts and sweatpants.
Yes. Today. And I
Yeah.
decided, and I have I left my dogs in here for recording, and my dog just started digging, and so you hear that in the background. But I feel like I really remember, and I feel like this at every stage of growth. It's like when you become a professional nurse coach, it's something new, and many of us haven't had to be anything new in a long time. And so we're out of practice of being new. And unless you're like adventurous and you're doing new hobbies, and I think we go do new things in different places, but we're part of the crowd. But to go do something new where you're in leadership is extremely vulnerable. And so we see this all the time, and everybody has a different relationship with this. But this idea that I just don't feel ready. And it's like, same. I don't feel ready to do what we're doing this year because I've never done it before.
No. Yeah. Oh, God.
Right.
This is funny to record now. I remember getting started and definitely feeling nervous and definitely feeling like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. But my skill as like a travel nurse really translated for me.
Oh,
I had a bunch of like banked experiences of like, I've walked onto a unit before and not known where the crash car was and figured it out and been fine. So if I can figure that out and keep people alive, I can figure this out. And sure, it's like a lot to be with. It was very activating. I tell the story often about how I sweat through my clothes often on my first initial calls. Like I was so nervous, but I had this like innate comfort. I'm like, you've done harder things. This will be fine. You will figure it out. You learn by doing. These are all things I know about myself. You'll figure it out. And you and I were having a conversation a few weeks ago to where I was like, I had like tears in my eyes. I'm like, I've really never done this before. Like the version of our business that we're doing now, I've never done this before. And I had no experience to pull from here. Like I've never been a C-suite executive of anything. I've never, like, it's just pulling on a bunch of skills that I don't have yet. And it's disorienting for me, not in such a way that I want to like quit or throw in the towel or, you know, burn our business down, but I do feel lost. Like I do feel confused, and my own medicine is becoming helpful right now. I've been teaching a lot about this in residency. I've been teaching a lot about like what it means to be new, like how that feels in your body, how it can be so disorienting and dysregulating. And my goal right now in this season is just to like keep my feet planted on the ground of like, we can
Yeah.
go down the trail of worry like really, really often and really frequently, or we can just like take a deep breath and like do the things that we have to do today and
Yes.
intentionally seek information or tools or resources that will make this season easier. But this is hard. This is challenging. And in whatever professional capacity you're pursuing nurse coaching, I know that we are asking a lot of you. I know it's
Yeah.
like big to hear that like me and Laura are counting on you to do what is on your heart. I know that that's a big ask, but I think about the long-term vision for nurse coaching of like, if the movement doesn't die with all of the nurses that are working on it right now, like we have got to become a community that moves. Like,
Yes.
period, end of
Well
story.
said. Yeah, and like tying it into um, being a brand new nurse coach, the identity piece, the confidence piece. So many people we see, you think, I just need, you know what, I'm going to go get my nutrition certification because if I really know everything there is to know about nutrition, then suddenly I will feel different. And it does nothing for private practice. Then you just postpone the same exact feelings. And that's so
Yeah.
strange because I think in regular nursing, maybe some of that goes away, but truly the classroom does not prepare us for the floor. Period.
Right.
Like more classes don't make you less sweaty on the floor when you're in a new unit or you're with a new type of patient. Only experience does. And so I was told as an ICU nurse 2 to 3 years before you feel like you're not going to kill everybody every day. And
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, I don't know that I ever got there because I switched around. I went from ICU to PACU to pre-op, and then I got into like a job where nobody was dying anymore. So I didn't
Yeah.
stay as an ICU nurse specifically long enough to ever be like, oh, no one's going to die my shift. I know everything. And I look up to the nurses and I talk to those nurses every day who are like, I did ER,
Yeah.
I did L&D, I did this, I did flight nursing. It's like, the varsity of nursing, and you all
Yeah.
are like nervous about charging for speaking and loving somebody because you're so afraid you're not going to bring value. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just this perspective that's so interesting. And so I find it's not that you need more knowledge, you just need more repetitions. And so that's like a mantra that you can say is like, if I want to feel better, I just have to keep doing sessions, not if I want to feel better, I have to keep taking certifications. And that for me, where I had experience is I had my own business before. I didn't really think of it that
Yeah.
way, but I've had my own business several times. And it was just a house cleaning business when I was in nursing school, but I figured out how to market and sell and propose and receive money. So I realized that was
Yeah.
an unfair advantage now. But when I think of what my actual unfair advantage is the mindset of I can do anything if I'm horizontal 10 hours a day. So that just gives me more capacity because it's a deep belief that I've repeated to myself for 8 years of like, if I can get 10 hours of sleep, and then really anything's possible from a physiological standpoint. Like there's enough cognitive bandwidth, there's
Yeah.
enough capacity emotionally. It's like if I'm not in bed 9 hours a day, everything falls apart. And that's just me personally. And some of you are in seasons where that's not possible. And then the second really helpful thing is like, I'm good at new things, period. Not
Mm-hmm.
like I'm good at new things in nursing or I'm good at new things outside of nursing. It's like, just I am good at new things. I'm good at being new. I trust that I'm going to learn. And so
Yeah.
sometimes it's not that you need to know more about nurse coaching. We just have to really install this on your operating system of, hey, I know I'm expanding my capacity. All I have to do is reps. It's going to feel better soon. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think that that is almost more useful than like reading another coaching book, you know?
Yes. And it's such an easy place to hide because it
Yes. Feels
feels
good.
productive. Yeah, it feels good and it gives you this little micro dopamine hit. And I understand that. It's a balance. I don't want to encourage you guys never to learn again because that's not the point of what we're saying. But
Yeah.
like the point
Yeah.
of it is just after you've gone through certification, you've done the bulk of your learning, and now we need to go put it into practice in the real world. We need to
Yes.
implement. That is where your next learning is. And whenever I talk to nurse coaches about joining residency, I tell them, I was like, hey, your biggest risk of failure is quitting too soon. This is failure insurance for you. Like, this is
Yeah.
the way. If you want to stack the odds in your favor, invest in yourself, have a coach in your corner, and have a community that you are accountable to. And those are just like layers to ensure that you don't quit. And you're going to want to quit in the first 4 to 6 months of your business more than
Right.
once. And so, another short story here is I started a residency last week, and it was the first time that I got on the call and no one had messaged me beforehand being like, Shelby, I want to back out, or can I switch cohorts? Like, it's too much. No one did that. And so I was celebrating. I was like, team, you did it. Like, you made it to the first call. This is the hardest part. And no one wanted to quit before the call. And then after we hung up, 4 of them messaged me and were like, hey, I actually did want to quit. And if quitting was an option, I would have. Just wanted you to know. I was like, yeah, I'm still proud of you. I'm proud of you for like, sticking to your guns here. It was so funny. But I mean, that's a quarter of the people in the room that wanted to quit before call 1. And we would never know, right? And I think that we hear this word capacity online a lot. It's a buzzword for sure. And the way I view capacity, the way I define it is like, it is your ability to stay with this discomfort, to be with this discomfort, to notice that this discomfort, however it shows up for you, is not a sign to quit or to escape or to throw in the towel. It's just your sign to breathe and to keep going, to keep pursuing here. And even potentially when everything in your body is like, this is too hard, I can't do it. This is when it's so helpful to loop in a coach to really dissect that of like, is this actually a season where you should put it down? Or is this just like a normal part of the growth experience to where we keep going? And I would say, I don't know, 90% of the time, it's the latter.
Yeah, I'm going to be so dramatic here. I'm being so dramatic. We've done this for so long and so many times. Sometimes we can sound like the old, like my dad's in AA. And when I would go to AA meetings with him, then the people had been sober for 30 years. They're just like the old timers. And then they've just got all this like stuff that they say. And it's like, as a newcomer, you're just like, okay, whatever, like next, like somebody I can relate to. And so I want to like be careful of that. But birthing a nurse coach business, you are birthing a new identity and you're birthing a business. You're birthing 2 babies at the same time. So you are having twins. And if you do not have a doula, you do not have a midwife during transition, you're going to feel like you're going to die and you're going to want to quit. And it's like, I'm not even like being dramatic. Like that is the way that your ego and your subconscious will feel right before you have a breakthrough, right before something magnificent happens with your identity or something magnificent happens in your business. It is going to feel like something is existentially wrong and that you are in danger. And then maybe you are. Like, that's the thing is like, it's just really helpful for like, your midwife to be like, 2 more pushes. Like I can see the head. And you're like, dude, I got 2 more pushes, but I don't got 2
I don't
more
have
out.
3. I don't got 3. Yeah.
And then it's really fun to watch everybody in a group birth as well, because you start just to have pattern recognition of where you are in the journey. And so that's that community piece. And, I've been challenged lately in one of my groups and, we've been in this season of growth. So we've just been in discomfort longer than we ever had before. And I think we're just coming out of it in different ways. But she said, your podcast, I've been listening to your podcast. Like that doesn't make me want to start a private practice. It sounds terrible. And she's like, what about the fun and the excitement? And I was like, that too. You're so right. So I don't want to forget all that, but you can't have all that without all this. And I think we've been just speaking to all of this, which is as it relates to capacity more than we used to.
Yeah.
And so there are also really fun, easy seasons where you just can do no wrong and people are coming out of the woodworks and your bank account is growing and you're getting testimonials and you have your first dream day where you're not rushed in the morning. And there's this sense of like, no, I'm a real business owner. I'm a real nurse coach. Like this is real. Like this is going to change my family's dynamic. This is amazing. You get to have all that, but you also get to have all this. And it's all on the other side of expanding capacity.
Yeah. Was that a nurse coach to be that listened to our podcast? Or is it someone outside of our community?
4 or 5 years in.
Oh,
like,
okay.
It's been brutal, but but I also, she's at a particular stage that I'm just like, oh, you just haven't done that yet. But if you want to get to where you say you want to go, this will start resonating with you. We're just not there quite yet.
Yeah, I can feel that for sure. I think that there's enough marketing online that's like
hype,
6 figures. Yeah. And if you go back to the earlier episodes of the podcast, we are the hype queen, like I do think that we've had a balance over the years of like the real and the hype and all the things. But honestly,
I have not listened to an early podcast, and that's frightening to think of, but
but at the same time, if you guys did business in 2025, it was brutal across the board. It was brutal, like for everyone that I know, nurse coach or not nurse coach. It was just like not easy. And we have a mentor that is transitioning out of our lives right now who he did say something the other day that I resonated with, that was, things come in like 7-year cycles, and 7, 5, 10, who cares? But just framing that, like, the highs will come. Hell yeah. Ride the wave, enjoy the view, be at the top, and then know what goes up must come down. It's just pure physics. Like it will
It's
happen.
good.
And
Yeah.
and you are not
You just
supernatural.
you get good at both. You get good in the valley, you get good at
Yeah.
the mountaintop, and you're just like, that's how you
Yes.
have to do it. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Well, I also think like capacity, and I think I talk about spirituality a lot woven into NLCA and woven into business coaching. It's like I think that if you find a spiritual purpose for the suffering, a spiritual purpose for just all of it, then
Yeah.
it's just you're not doing it alone. I can't tell you this year. There's been a lot of moments of I've gone into the house and I was like, "Hey kids, I'm interviewing someone today that could really help make mommy's life better. Can we all pray that it's a good interview and it's like the right person?" And they're like praying with me. So there's just like
Yeah.
elements of like letting the universe or God help and it not being
Yeah.
like all of me and my interviewing skills and Laura's going to make it happen. Like that's got to stop. And so I think if you can weave in the spiritual early on, it sets you up for the higher heights. And
Yeah. For
so
sure. Yeah, remembering also too that you opted in to this experience voluntarily. You are here because you wanted to be here, and if the metric of winning here can also include that your experience of life is just expanding, right? Of like, I'm here for the experience, the highs and the lows. It's going to teach me, it's going to make me a well-rounded human. And I think that we have entered into a season of entrepreneurship of like, we know when a valley is coming and we just like know what it means to be on the edge.
uh-huh.
In some ways it's easier because you know that it ends, and in some ways it's harder because you're like, damn it was really hard last time and now it's going to be really hard again. But I think that you get better the more times that you like go up and down.
Well, and
But yeah.
hard as in top of the hike when the incline gets bigger. So like
Yeah.
also type 2 fun requires suffering to enjoy it. And entrepreneurship is type 2 fun. And so, but you also get like joy and you also get pleasure and you also get other things, but to relate to it in any other way than type 2 fun, which if you're in our course, you know what that is. If
Yeah.
you relate to it in any other way, then you're being sold something that is just not true. And I think online a lot of time, especially like with mom influencers and oh, it's a Canva course and like 6 figures. And it's like, I know you were crying in your little Canva room. Like I
Yeah.
know, like I know if you're making 6 figures from Canva, I know it wasn't all butterflies and roses. And so I think it's just helpful to have a real grounded approach to the ride. And to be honest, I know a lot of our NLCA potential students listen to this podcast, and maybe we ease off on the hard in the beginning because we do want you to come on the ride.
Yeah.
But for the entrepreneurship part of the journey, it's like, okay, that was the kiddie ride. Are you ready to go on the roller coaster? And we're going to strap you in, and we have some safety protocols that we have to go through.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We do. I think that even if every nurse just went through certification, that your life would be infinitely better.
Yes.
Truly. Like even if that's where the journey, so quote unquote, stopped, which it wouldn't,
Yeah.
but if it did, if there was an end date, that is like one of the most joyful pieces. I mean,
It
certification
really is.
changed everything for me. If
Yeah.
I would have stopped there, it would have still changed everything for me.
Yes, agreed.
And so truly, that's the first like high. That's the first fun.
Mhm.
Something I realized early on in my entrepreneur journey, I was talking to my coach and I was like, this just feels so hard. And she goes, yeah. She goes, how about you journal about that? Like how it feels hard and how you relate to it. And I was like, okay, I didn't really know what that meant at the time,
Yeah.
but I did it anyway. And so I was writing about it of like what my relationship to hard work is. And this is, I think, something nurses will resonate with of like, we're just used to working hard. We're workhorses. And that is like, we know we're signing up for that whenever we become a nurse, or we
Yeah.
know kinda that we're signing up for that. And I was journaling about it and I was like, I am used to working hard. Like I was a competitive swimmer in high school to where it's just like you and the clock. That's it. There's no like room for creative interpretation. You either do it or you don't. And I practiced a lot. I'm used to hard, intense work. Nursing school was hard for me. Academics don't come easy. So that was hard. And then I worked, med surg and travel nursing and then ER. And those were all hard as well. And I actually find that I like hard work. Like it's challenging, it's engaging, it's rewarding for me. I like work that when I put effort in, I can see payoff, which is why nursing lost its luster for me after a while of I was working hard and the needle wasn't moving. And that was frustrating to me.
Yeah.
And I also like it because most people don't. Most people don't actually like to work hard. If there's an easy route, they're probably going to choose it. And I like it. My ego loves it. It's like a sticky shadow
Yeah.
side to loving it. I'm like, I love being a successful entrepreneur, especially a female entrepreneur, especially a mother entrepreneur, because the odds are so stacked against me. I love being the exception in the room. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. My ego loves it so deeply. And I could sit here and judge it, or I can just be like, hell yeah, you love it. Keep going. Like it's fuel in the
Yeah.
tank for me.
It's fuel
Yeah.
in the tank. I think we talk about fuel a lot, and like fear can be fuel, purpose can be fuel. There's all types of fuels. Like a lot of times you'll hear of really successful people had really difficult childhoods. And a lot of times they're trying to prove to their father that they're worthy. So that their
Yeah.
whole life is just trying to get love and acceptance that they didn't get obviously from 0 to 7. And I'm like, nice. Well done.
Yeah.
Like that's fuel. I think that some fuel burns cleaner than others. And I
Yeah.
know for our nurses and our programs, really the fuel is like, I just want to feel fulfilled. I just want to feel like at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, like my work really mattered. Like I want to feel like I'm really helping humans. I'm not going to use the word
Yeah.
patients because we don't use that in nurse coaching. We use the word clients, which I like better. I like the dynamic between a human and client than a nurse and a patient in the coaching
Yeah.
world. And so we are fueled by purpose, but I'll take any fuel we can get, burning clean or burning dirty. So like if your ego wants to win, I love like uncovering what that means for my clients. And
Yeah.
what I want to say that I see some entrepreneurs struggle with, especially in the middle journey, like after year 1, is gosh, this is harder than I thought. So I had expectations that weren't met. And so my ego feels like I failed. And so it's like that second hit in the wall, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like the way that we get there works until a moment when it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's why entrepreneurship, private practice is the spiritual gift that keeps on giving. Because at some point you get broken down to having to find more vast, unlimited places of capacity.
Yep.
You have to.
Yep.
You have to, or have a massive ego. But nurse coaches just don't. We don't get that.
They tend to not.
So we don't tend to
not.
attract you all.
Yeah.
If we were a bunch of 21-year-old like selling solar dudes, I think that it would probably be a spiritual thing.
Yeah. Hard to connect selling solar panels to your
Yeah.
spirituality for sure, or purpose or fulfillment. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's stick
Yeah, I
to
was
some
like,
of our structure because we got loose.
yeah, we did, but I think it ties back here, team, that just there's a level of repetition here that really matters. It matters more than perfection. It matters more than nailing it on every session. Confidence comes as a byproduct of this. And feedback I hear often from our community is you and Laura can just find the words so easy. It just seems like it comes so natural for you. Like we've earned that, team. Like we've really earned it over time with spending hours and hours, thousands of hours with humans, hundreds of hours recording this podcast. Like we just have had so much more practice, and you will be here too if you stay in the game long enough. Like there will be a time where you feel better, to where the words come easier, to where you can speak this dialect of nurse coaching with more confidence and more ease over time. And I would say that probably took me 2 years at least, you know?
Yeah. That's so interesting because I remember our the people who taught us, our instructors. I remember thinking that in certification, like,
Yeah.
man, he's so articulate. Well, these aren't the first time they're saying these words, and there is a
Mm-hmm.
whole new dialect. And just like as a new nurse, when you're working on the floor, like you don't know. Like I remember instead of saying O2 sat, I said O2 stat, and like some doctor made fun of me. Like
Yeah.
these are things we take for granted. Whatever job you're doing daily, believe me, you've got it nailed. You speak efficiently and effectively for the
Yeah.
place that you're in, and we are in a different workplace and like a different skill set. And I find highly articulate human beings that communicate clearly so soothing and so interesting, and I just really wanted to become that. for
Mm-hmm.
myself. I wanted other people to experience me that way. And so I remember early on, I decided I was going to start only speaking in complete sentences so
Yeah.
that if I was speaking and I had a transcript, it would make sense. It wouldn't need a whole lot of editing.
Yeah.
And that was like a game that I played early on. And I learned that from
Mm-hmm.
somebody that I watched. And when I told Evan that one day, he goes, that makes so much sense. I remember when the way that you talked started to change. And I thought like it was kind of weird because I never had done that before, had to do that
Yeah.
before. And in fact, in communication in the hospital using SBAR, we don't do that. We
Mm-hmm.
don't, right? It's like
Yeah.
so different. So I've heard a couple of our NLCA grads say, I love my communication. My communication has really improved, or
Mm-hmm.
confidence in communicating. That's huge. That's so huge because we
Yeah.
communicate everywhere we go. And certainly, if we want to help people change their lives and we want to change the system, then communication, our skill level, being a good orator, being articulate, that's a leverageable skill for good. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
that's so interesting. I never even thought about how that is part of the journey of becoming a coach because
Mm-hmm.
you're listening and refining the way you reflect, and you're like
Yeah.
expanding your vocabulary.
This was such a thing for me in the beginning. It's like an it factor that coaches have. And I was like,
Yeah.
what is that? Like, where do I pay someone to teach me how to do this? And I hired a few coaches because of this like feeling that I got when they spoke. And I was like, well, if I can just hang out with them, I'll learn
Yeah.
something, I'll absorb it somehow. And so this wasn't like a flip the switch, Shelby has all of a sudden learned, right? This wasn't a pay $5,000 and you learn the skill, but it's something that you and I have intentionally studied for 7 years
Mm-hmm.
to be here. And even now, whenever I create content or curriculum or workshops, thank God for ChatGPT, I'm able to like put my words on paper and then ask AI, be like, make this in a 10th grade reading level, not because our community is down, but because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the way that my brain works and the way that I want to teach doesn't always translate to a room
So
full
well
of
said.
150 people,
Yeah.
So that's been really helpful for me too. Lately is like, okay, yeah, we have a coaching dialect here. How can we still get the point across in a more linear way, in a way that's easier to understand, like taking these deep, complex topics of our subconscious and how do we break it down in a way that's easier to digest has been like a really helpful thing for me in probably the past year. And so all these things, team, it's like really cool to hear our community say this about us, but they are intentionally grown over time
Yeah.
here as well.
I've also had coaches that maybe didn't have that it factor, that had something else. It's so interesting that you say that because I think every coach I've ever hired has had something that I desired, subconsciously or
Yeah.
consciously. And you get it through osmosis from being in their presence. And
Mm-hmm.
so I became a better coach because I hung out with a way better coach for 6 months post graduation. You became a better coach because
Yeah.
you hung out with a way better coach at 2 years post
Yeah.
certification. And then I continue to look for rooms where I can observe, like expand myself through being
Mm-hmm.
around other people. I think these days it's less coach, it's more entrepreneur. But in the early days, it was like, what does a $300,000 a year coach look like, sound like, talk like? What does she wear? What does she draw? Like, what does
Yeah.
she coach on? I was just studying her as like a specimen of like, well, she can do it. How did she do it? And then like really realizing, oh, she can do it because she's been doing it. There's actually nothing special about her. It's just that she's been doing this thing for a long period of time. What I love about coaching is that coaches that do this thing for a long period of time, they almost always get paid well because
Yeah.
it's like a very sought after skill.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're so excited to get you started. And by the way, if you're in NLCA, y'all graduate 30 to 40% ahead of the game than we did.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Noticeably.
100%. Yeah. I spend a lot of time with our soon to be graduates. A lot of my week is spent with you guys. And I ask this question on every call. How does your coaching skill feel right now? 95% of the time people say my coaching skill feels really good. And I know that I have more to learn, but I'm feeling really solid.
Oh, I love
Every time. Every time. Every time.
it.
And
We got
so
lead learning coaches know that. That's
yeah,
so
it's
cool.
consistent amongst
Yeah,
our
that's
grads.
awesome.
Yeah, it's so wonderful. And so then I'm like, okay, great. Like, let's leverage this confidence into getting started. If you are feeling confident, your competence is high, like it makes it easier to sell. It makes it easier to offer because we feel good about the thing we're offering to the world. And so it's just been It's been excellent. It's been excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know that I get to title this podcast episode what I was going to title it before we started, and that's all right. I still think that this episode was helpful and meaningful. But team, I hope what shines in this episode here is that capacity is built over time. It's built through repetitions. It is built intentionally. I would say probably, I don't know, for the first 2 years, this may have been more passive for us. Like we were just learning, being with other coaches, drinking from the fire hydrant. And then within the past 18 months, 2 years, I think this has become like more of a conscious effort on our behalf. I don't know. If some of this went over your head, that's okay. But I hope that you guys sign up for the roller coaster. I hope that you choose to be strapped in to the big loop-de-loop version of this experience and know that like Laura and I we're not particularly abnormal in a way that you can't also have your version of success here too. You can absolutely grow it as well. And we're here to help. We're here to help. So if you are a nurse listening to this episode and it went way over your head, come join us at Nurse Life Coach Academy or begin to learn the dialect of nurse coaching. And then if you are searching for private practice, we can absolutely help you here too. Anything you want to say before we round her out here?
I've been thinking about when you're in rooms of successful people, which means just people that in some aspect of their life have pursued excellence, and you can sense it and feel it. None of them are special. I've been in rooms with multi-millionaires. I've been in rooms with famous people. I've been in rooms with very, very distinguished human beings, and they're exactly like you are.
Yeah.
Like we're all like one of my coaches say, we all eat, we all shit, we all sleep. Like it's just, but some of us choose different thoughts than others. And like that kind of is like what it boils down to. And so capacity is a choice of thoughts over time and a commitment to a choice of thoughts over time. And we've got you from the beginning of the journey all the way through. And we're just glad you're here listening.
Yeah. There's a part of me that's like, no, we are special. And I'm like, God, like not really, like how many ER nurses exist in the world? There's a lot of us. So there's potential on the table here for everybody. And to add one last thought to that, whenever you ask successful people, like what allowed you to be successful, it's never that they like hit the market at the right time. Very few. Or like I had this insane social media strategist that figured everything out for me. Or, like the secret key. It's always, I just worked really intentionally and hard for a long time to create the success. And so even at the top, team, no one took a secret shortcut. We're always looking for the secret shortcut, but no one took it to get there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, homies. You know where to find us. We'll be here same time, same place next week. Lots of love to you. Bye.
Bye.